Come here now, girl.
Hello and welcome to WhatsMap, your one-stop shop for everything workshop. I'm BonBonB and you're very, very welcome. Right, today we've got a map based on a real-life location, instantly recognisable as London, so good work there. It is a rescaled map at 1 to 1.25, so you'll be able to, in theory, do an accurate recreation of the City of London, just rescaled a little bit. Except for, I would say this map is more for a fantasy rebuild of London, so you could take some of the London assets and put them in roughly the right area, because I think the accuracy is a little bit out, as you'll see when we do the flyover. That does not mean it's not a good map. It just means that an accurate recreation is probably not one for this map. Now, speaking of accuracy, how good is your aiming? Like the like button, for example. That's right, successfully hitting that like button really does support the channel, gets me seen by more people and helps me grow a little bit more every single day. Thank you for that support. Today's map is London 1 to 1.25 by Kanцелярская крыса, aka Stationary Rat in a Russian. I apologise to any Russians watching this and I've just butchered your language. I'll do my best. This is Vauxhall, this is your start square. Vauxhall, London. There is your terrain heights. It's pretty flat throughout. London is very well developed. There are some hills, whatever, but it's going to be flat for building. The resources are completely fictional. I mean, there may be a bit of oil down there, maybe, possibly. In real terms, well, I wouldn't do any fishing in the Thames, but in the game, you have a little bit of anchovy and salmon if you have Sunset Harbour. Off to the workshop, what do we need? The answer is absolutely nothing. It's 100% vanilla, and we'll be using the vanilla European theme and the realistic 1.2 LUT. Apparently there is a little bit of trouble on the highway crossing on the eastern side of the city, so we'll have a little look at that and see if we can work out what the problem is when we get there. Okay, so here we are down at ground level, and we see a little bit of highway drift. We are off towards the fog here, so a little bit of highway drift out here, probably not a huge problem. And we've got a little bit of an up and over on the rail as well. Pretty much the only place I've seen this on the map as well, so again, we can just about ignore that as well. Then we got a slightly wonky looking bridge. Yeah, everything about this bridge just doesn't feel very polished at all. But is it about a polished bridge? Is this map about having a perfection? The answer is going to be no. Not every map has to be super slick and super polished, although I will be picking out these things like this bridge here. It's not really parallel, different heights, a bit wonky. It's been drawn at speed and the creator hasn't gone back to tidy things up. And it's the creator's prerogative. They've been doing other things. This bridge isn't too bad. Okay, could be better aligned still, but it's not too bad. Then we have a little bit of jinky here, and then across the bridge there, which is a good looking bridge again. Another janky there. And a nice tidy little intersection. We see a few of these on this map. There are a few grumbles we can make about like the sharpness of the bend on the highway there underneath the flyover. Little things we can complain about if we so desire. This bridge, one bridge is twice as long as the other side, and again, in real life, that can happen. I'm just not buying into it. I don't feel there was any real need for it to be on this particular map. So yes, we do have some elevated rail across the map. I've checked certain places. I haven't checked. Say, I'm not a London boy. I've been to London, but not for a little while, and certainly not this part of London. The tightness of the highway there as well. As we're heading up towards North London here, and bridges. Oh, another droopy bridge here. It's got a little bit of breakage on this bridge as well, right here. So yeah, where it's ripping away from the terrain. I think we'll have to have a bridge tutorial on today's show. So yeah, we'll link that one when we get to the intermission. As we head up, I think we're going in towards Hampstead area. I think this is Hampstead Heath area, and Park. I might be wrong. We do have a bit of a tight loop back. See, somebody has clearly been following the highway layout or the road layout off of the London map, and I think there's credit to be given there. But then you'll see a bit later on, there's a little bit of creativity thrown in as well, which I just don't understand. I don't understand how it's creative and supposedly real at the same time. I'm blown away really by the balance. The balance between realism and fictional, I don't think is quite here, you know. Another one of these slightly, this one doesn't look so polished intersections. Another not too bad bridge there. Not too bad. I'm trying to find nice things to say where I'd normally be critical. And then we've got another bridge over crossing there. That's not too bad. Could be tidier, but not too bad. Then we've got a broken highway here, which would be a crossing over the rail. So maybe this is what it says in the description when needs fixing. Except for this isn't the eastern side of the city. This is actually the western side of the city. So maybe it's another crossing. But I'm suspecting that's the one. Now, off to the left there, we have got the A5. What I think is supposed to be the A5. But we're not. We're going down the edge of the map to one of the many bridges that cross the Thames in London. I'm not sure which one this one is. I haven't looked in any great detail. I'm pretty sure it's not a suspension bridge like this one in real life. But we're right on the edge of the map, so I think we can forgive that one. Heading down towards another intersection. Again, I'm pretty sure these are more junctions in real life than intersections, but intersections will add to playability and keep the traffic flowing, so I don't have a big issue with it. And now we're heading down what I think is the A3. Okay, I did a little bit of research, okay? Not a huge amount, but I did a little bit of research. And then we have a big old jinky janky taking us up in towards Vauxhall and what is our start square. So if we pull back, you'll get a better view of the area. Pretty flat throughout down here, so I'm not going to show you the terrain elevations, but I will show you an asset of the day. And what better suited to a London city build than the Toronto Transit Commission headquarters by JSF1. Now, to be fair, you could use this in most urban cities. I just like the design of it. I like in the shape of it. I like in the drive-through on it, which we will do before we move off across the map. It's a really lovely asset, and JSF1 does do a lot of good assets similar to this one. Factoids, because factoids. The Earth, for its size, has the largest satellite of any of the planets in the solar system. That satellite is the moon. I can't believe it, actually. To be fair, though, they have actually spelt moon with a capital M. So I'm going to give credit to the people that published this book. At least they got the spelling of moon and Earth correct, actually, with the capital E. So anyway, what we got here, the Toronto Transit Commission headquarters. I think it's just got a little bit of magic about it, this building, and it would work very nicely indeed in a London city build. You find a place to put it. I'm sure there are plenty of places that would work. JSF1, great work. Keep up the Toronto stuff, please. Now we're going down to what I think is the A2206. I'm sure there's some Londoners around there. There's at least a couple that watch the show regularly who will tell me that this is actually, no, this isn't the A2206. For a start, the A2206 is a national road or a two-lane road. Or you've got the idea. But it's following the roughly the route of the A2206. Then we're going to get to something completely mind-blowingly confusing, which, when I saw it, I spent too long researching this map with bits so I could say, oh, you'll find, as we get to the second half of the show, I'll be pointing out things like where Buckingham Palace and that sort of thing is. But what we have down here, we're moving down towards what is the O2 Arena, formerly the Millennium Dome. And, well, to the best of my knowledge, unless they've demolished the Millennium Dome in the last 24 hours, pretty sure there isn't a bridge down here. Pretty certain about it. There's a ferry, I think, but not a bridge. So anyway, that there is that's pretty much a full loop of London, pretty much. Let's have a look at the rail. Now, this is a route that I travelled on many a year as a child, as a teenager, where I would head up to what we call the smoke. And so yes, because being from the south coast of England, there's a couple of routes up. You can head across the county, or you can head up on the Brighton line. Oh, the Brighton line. Love the Brighton line. And if you take the Brighton line, you follow this route up here. Then if we bear left, is it Clapham not sure where we are at the moment on the map. I'm very confused. But anyway, if you follow this route up, it takes you into London Victoria, which is a beautiful station. A beauty of a station, and it's pretty central in London as well, and we'll be checking out again where it is roughly in location to everything else in the second half of the show. But yeah, we get all this tangle of lines leading in, and there is a tangle of lines here. Whether it's quite this ugly, I'm not sure. I think it was much tidier in real life, but hey, at least somebody has had a go at doing it, so credit there. And London Victoria Station, right here near the river and the lakes, which means Intermission.
Do your bridges look like the game's AI has gone on holiday? Would you like vanilla bridges to be proud of? Then you need the beginner's guide to perfect bridges by BonBonB. Click the information button below.
No excuse for imperfect bridges now, okay? So shipping routes. Well, the Thames is actually the London is actually a dock city. We have a port, London Port, and the shipping route goes through a couple of pretty low bridges there, but I wouldn't recommend putting your docks that far up the river anyway. So it's not a big problem, as this is like your dock lands around here, or is it there? But you got the idea. There is going to be a little bit of a problem though with the bridge on the edge of the map, because it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. And all the vanilla shipping that's going to crunch through there. Yes, you can use custom boats. I know that. You know that. But that, as it stands, is a bit of a problem. Water flow. Now, the Thames is tidal. This is the river coming down from the Shires. And we've got good water flow down to about this location here, which I think Start Square is around. There you go. Start Square is here. And you can see we do have arrows, so we do have water flow through the Start Square, which is great. And it is tidal, which means the edge of map water flow pushing in here means that that's kind of realistic too. It does mean that if you're going to be pumping sewage out, you're going to have sewage accruing where there is no water flow. And that's about here, which is roughly around about Charing Cross railway station, right in the middle of London. It's gonna stink. Oh, lovely. Gotta love London. Anyways, the thing with London is we have all these little waterways that people aren't really aware of. This is roughly where EastEnders is supposed to be, if you're a fan of the British soaps. And a little bit further inland there would be the Olympic Park, where London 2012 took part. That's that part of London. Then if we come over, or if we have a look at I like the shape of the river. Loving the south of London as well. We've got some really interesting, I'm not sure where this is. This is clearly a park. I'm not sure exactly where that one is. But we do have this one. I know this big old park over here. This is Hyde Park, very clearly Hyde Park. Now if that is Hyde Park, then this must be St James's Park, and if this here is St James's Park, that means Buckingham Palace, or Buckingham Palace as we say over here. We don't do ham, we do is about there. And it also means that Big Ben, because I know you want to know where Big Ben is, it's down here on the river near the park, somewhere around about there, in that area. Okay, I'm not going to get too exact because I don't think the map really wants you to be too exact. What more have we got going on? We got Hampstead up here. We've got all these little rivers, which they're there. They're throughout London, but people aren't really aware of them. They're not really that chunky. They're a lot thinner and more for drainage and over the years for sewage. Got the Isle of Dogs there, which is where all the tallest buildings are. So if you want to do a big skyline, you'll be building them there. But what I would want to do is I'd want to realign the map a little bit, because just off the map, onto the right hand side there, that's where the City of London Airport is, London City Airport. It'd be nice to have access to that rather than this gaping space of land over here. But anyway, what do you think of this map? Is it a 1-star map? Is it a 5-star map? Is it somewhere in between? Your vote really does count. We use it at the end of the month for the Viewer's Choice Top 10. Will this be one of the top 10 maps of the month? Only you can decide. Please make sure you vote. We're getting a bit lax on voting. I don't want any laziness. Go and vote now. What do I think of the map? Well, aesthetically, I think the saving grace is it does look like it's instantly recognisable as London. It gets credit for that. Nothing really much more beyond that. So I'm going to give it the 3 stars, but I think I'm going to go really low on the 3. Detailing. Detailing is not great. Okay, there are certain areas which aren't too bad and certainly are in keeping with the City of London, but not too many of them. So I'm going to go 2 stars, but I think we can go medium high 2. I think I'm being a bit generous, but medium high 2. Gameplay potential. For an accurate recreation, no. For a fictional fantasy fun recreation of London, I think it would work. Just about. It's playable. It's playable. I'm going to go for a 3, a lowish 3, medium low 3, but definitely a playable map. So, a London 1 to 1.25 by cancelярская, крыса, aka the stationary rat. Good for you. Good for you. And next week I'm going to do Moscow. I'm just kidding. I'm just not making Moscow. Wouldn't know where to start. Anyway, thanks for watching, for commenting, for liking, and for subscribing. If you're still here, you are part of the 20 and out elite, our secret society. Use the words of the day into the comments. Score yourself some population points just for fun. And check to see if anybody else has used the words of the day. And maybe comment on theirs. Maybe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow with another What's Map.